Hi there! I'm in Central Europe's most underrated tourist region once again, and this is the Balaton Bike Road on which I'm riding. And in this video I'm going to tell you what I think of this bike road. So, short answer, I think it's great that it exists. I'm using it a lot, but actually, to be honest, most of the time I don't really enjoy riding it. But let me explain. But before that, let me give you some facts. The bike road has been built in 2004, I think. And it has been renewed 2 or 3 years ago, between 2020 and 2022. You can see there are places where the bike road is quite narrow. Okay, so it goes all around Central Europe's Central Europe's largest lake, Lake Balaton, and it has a total length of a little more than 200 kilometers. Currently I am in the village called Örvenyes. So one reason why I don't always enjoy riding this bike path is that it runs mostly in parallel to the main country road here, and you have to cross the road a number of times. So today it's a weekday. It's not yet main season, so it's mid-May right now, and the main season's gonna start in a few weeks. And the weather isn't great, so there is not much traffic, not much bike traffic, and also not so much car traffic. But sometimes it can get quite crowded here and can get quite nasty to having to cross the road. Nice landscape here, by the way. So you have to cross the road every once in a while, but what I find a bit more disturbing is the noise, the traffic noise. You know, as I said, currently it's not that bad, but it gets quite worse during the main season, especially on weekends. Lavender labyrinthus, love each day. So this is the Lavender labyrinth. Okay. And you are asked to pay 500 forint per person if you want to walk through the labyrinth. Just wondering where to put the money. Oh, here it is. Not really sure what these scissors are for. Does it mean that you can take your own lavender if you want? Probably so. Okay, yeah, I see. You have to wait. You have to pay 1,000 forint if you if you cut one bag of lavender, which I'm not going to do. Okay, I'm not gonna walk the labyrinth, but I'm still going to put these 500 forints into this box. 500 forints, this is about €1.20. Okay. Nice place, but as always, it's right next to the road. So this is one of the parts of the bike paths which have been renewed 2 years ago. Before that, it was maybe half the width, you can see here. And here once again, this is still the bike path, but this is also some kind of a side road. So there are parts of the bike path where there is motorized traffic. Also, it's never the main road, it's always some kind of side road, but that's okay. And here the side road goes back to the main road, but I'm gonna continue here on the dedicated bike path. Here are some newly built houses that belong to the town of Aszófő, which we are entering now. Aszófő. And as you will see in a moment, the dedicated bike path will end once again, and you will have to cross this town, this village, on a regular side road once again. So this is Aszófő. There's the railway station ahead. So I would say about maybe 50% of this bike path is made of dedicated bike roads which are not used by motorized traffic, and the rest, the remaining 50%, are made up of side roads like this. I mean, you still have these signs denoting that it's a bike path, but still it can also be used by motorized traffic. And pedestrians, of course. Bike path turns left, and I'm going to continue there a little bit later, but for now I'm gonna ride straight on. And so I'm leaving the official bike path right now, and I think you can already imagine why I do not always enjoy riding this bike path, because it's always next to the road. The landscape is not too interesting, I think. Sorry, I have to stop because it's a little bit difficult to ride and film here at the same time, but this is more the kind of bike path, bike trail which I like. But the official bike path is great for getting to places like this, and that's why I'm using it quite a lot. But this is really where the fun actually begins. So let me see if I can. Let's do it this way. Okay. So this is not just a random trail, it brings you to a historical site. The remains of a church from the Middle Ages. This place has been nicely renovated during the past years. Let's see if I can find some more information. Seems to be the altar here and another kind of side altar on the left side. I forgot the name of this church and the exact time period when it was built, but I think we can find it out by looking at this table. By the way, we are really close to Lake Balaton here. Lake is just over there. So it's a little bit difficult because most of the time the texts are in Hungarian only, no English version. I do understand some Hungarian, but still it's a little bit more difficult for me to understand. So it's a Roman, it used to be a Roman villa, and in the 13th century the history of this church started. It has been built, the first version, in 1260, has been destroyed by the Turks, I think, in 1552, and has been renewed later. Okay, so here we can see the whole site. So this is the church itself. We have Harum Kareios Epulet. I have to say I don't exactly understand what it means. Then 3 is the villa, so this seems to be the Roman villa, which is over there, of which you don't see a lot at this time. and there are some side buildings, number 4 here, and there's Apsischorschmelik, a epaulet, another side building. Okay, so sorry for my lack of understanding these specific terms, architectural, historical terms in Hungarian. Definitely should improve my language skills here. But that's not the point of this video. I just wanted to show you that if you leave the bike path and go into these side streets a little bit, you will find lots of interesting things. Back on the official bike route, one nice thing is that there are lots of shops and also restaurants like here next to the bike road. Okay, here we get to another dedicated bike road. So, as I said, it has been built in the early 2000s. The first version of it, which didn't look like this. So this once again is one of the renewed parts which have been improved a few years ago. So why did they build this bike road? It became more popular in Hungary by the locals and also by tourists to use the bike, and I think the government planned to do something about it. And you know, there are always two different reasons why people are building a bike road, but normally people only talk about one reason, and this one reason is the obvious one, which is of course to make it safer for the cyclists, to give them the opportunity to ride without being endangered by the motorized traffic. Here's another restaurant, the Hallschütte, specialized on fish. So that's the obvious reason. It's supposed to promote cycling as a healthy and eco-friendly way of getting around, especially when compared with cars and motorcycles. So that's obvious, but there is also another quite opposite reason for building a bike road or bike path, and that is to help the motorists, the car drivers, because it gets the bicycles away from the road. And I believe that this reason is just as important as the other one. So the bike path is not only supposed to make the cyclists happy, but also to make the motorists happy, for which bicycles are often a kind of hindrance and inconvenience. But still, I think both of these are legitimate reasons. Just most of the time people only speak about the first one. Okay, so we are next to the Tihany Peninsula, which is also a place where it's definitely worth to leave the bike road and just cycle or even walk up these hills. I have made some other videos there, and I think I'm still gonna make some more of them, because this is really one of the most spectacular places here. Okay, and once again we have to cross the road. This is a little bit of a difficult situation, especially when you're filming, which you shouldn't do. So most of the car drivers are very careful, sometimes even too careful, so sometimes they stop when I try to cross the road in places where they don't even have to stop and I don't even want to cross the road. So most of them are really careful, but you have to be aware that not all of them are like that. So there are still some motorists that just don't care about cyclists, that think they are just an annoyance, but fortunately this is only a small minority. Another lavender field here next to Tihany. And in a moment I'm gonna show you the worst part of this cycling path in a moment. So this is Tihany and I'm now on the way to Balatonfüred. So this is not yet the worst path, but here you can see how narrow the original version of this bike path was. And you can imagine in the main season, June, July, August, and on weekends when it's crowded, this is just not wide enough. But it's gonna get worse in a moment. So just gotta stop filming when crossing the road. One moment. And that's what I mean. I mean, it's okay. It's okay right now. There are no other cyclists, but you can see it's very narrow, maybe 1 meter and 20. You see? And you don't really see if other cyclists come from the other side. So this is what the greatest part of the original version of this bike path was like. And yeah, as you can see, there are not only bikes, there are also electric scooters, there are also some pedestrians, and yeah, during the past years the number of electric bikes has increased quite a lot. Oh, it's really difficult to ride here and film at the same time. Okay, so the number of electric bikes has increased. I would say that especially in the main season there are about 50% electric bikes. And yeah, if you ask me, it really doesn't make a lot of sense to use an electric bike here because it's all pretty flat. But yeah, that's the current development. So another thing that makes it sometimes difficult to ride here is that many of the cyclists are quite inexperienced. So these are people who maybe use their bikes 4 or 5 times a year, maybe just one time, put them on their cars, drive here and go for a ride. Very inexperienced people, sometimes or often whole families, and that's another reason why you have to be very careful here. So to summarize, I am using this bike path a lot because I spent much time here in Hungary. 12 years ago, my wife, who is actually more or less a local, we bought a house in Örvenyes, which is right next to this bike path, and so I use it a lot to get to places, and normally the interesting, the more beautiful or more exciting part starts when I just leave the bike path and go somewhere into some side streets, up the hills or whatever. So we also often use it to just go to a restaurant, which is not so far, sometimes to go shopping. So it's really a great thing. I'm really glad that it exists, not only for me, also for other more unexperienced cyclists. But yeah, you hear it. So there is always this sound, this noise from the road, and can get much worse in the main season. So yeah. So these are the outskirts of the largest town here, Balatonfüred. Let's just go on a little bit until we get to the center of Balatonfüred. By the way, that is where I started one of my previous videos. Arrived in the center of Balatonfüred. So this is also a place where you should be a little bit careful, because there are, at least on the weekends again, and in the main season, there are lots of pedestrians, and yeah, some of them really have no idea what a bike path actually is. So you should expect them just to ignore it and be accordingly careful. Okay. So that's the pier, and we are entering the beautiful Tagore promenade, which is also part of the bike path here. But it's closed for bikes in the largest part of August, when the wine festival is taking place here. Okay, I think this is really the third video with scenes from this place, because this is really one of my favorite places here. Okay, so let's turn around and finish this video for today. So this was only maybe 6 kilometers of these 200 and I don't know kilometers in total, but I think these represent a good overview over the different types of roads that you should expect. Signing off for today. Hope that I could give you a good impression of this bike path. By the way, I'm obviously absolutely overdressed for this, so this is more like something to get around conveniently or for beginners. And for me, as I said, I don't really enjoy this bike path too much. For me, it's more a way to combine it with some more interesting trails and paths. So as I said, you can go up into the hills where you can find, for example, a network of, I think, 400 kilometers of gravel trails and things like that. So this is more what I enjoy, but as I said, it's quite nice that this thing exists. So bye bye for today, and I think I'm gonna see you again in a few days. I'm on vacation now and I have more time to record some videos.